Walter Chrysler was one of the 20th century's greatest automotive pioneers. He was really ahead of his time, and he was there at the birth of the industry and worked his way up and really became an automotive legend. So Mr. Chrysler was born in 1875 in Kansas. He was the son of a locomotive engineer, which was a big-time job back then. That was the most impressive job you could really have in the West. His father wanted him to go on to college and not pursue a life on the railroad. Walter had other ideas. He was very mechanically inclined. While he was in high school, he was subscribing to Scientific American and all these other publications to broaden his knowledge. He really wanted to work on locomotives. So against his father's wishes, actually, he got a job in the roundhouse, first sweeping the floors, then he became an oiler. He worked his way up to become a mechanic on the trains. Actually, there wasn't like a snap-on truck that came to the shops. He had to borrow other people's tools and copy them by hand. So very famously, Walter B. Chrysler's toolbox became a thing, and it's still in existence, still in the family's hands. He was so successful that he worked his way up to becoming head of locomotive power for one of the railroads. It was the height of the mechanical age then, and he reached the pinnacle of what he could do. He was on a business trip to Chicago in 1908, and the Chicago Auto Show was going on. So he and a friend visited it, and he realized that first visit that the automobile was going to replace the locomotive. This was the new form of transportation. And before he left, he bought his first car, a locomobile. He had it shipped back to his home in Pennsylvania. And there, he and his brother Ed took it apart and put it back together 3 times before he ever tried to drive it. He just wanted to know how an automobile worked. But he knew it was going to replace the horse and carriage, the locomotive, so he wanted to be a part of this. He got a call from Willie Durant, the head of General Motors, and he was asked to come to Flint, Michigan to run Buick's manufacturing process. He jumped at the chance. He came to Flint in 1912. And began working his way up through Buick. He was the head of manufacturing. Eventually he became a vice president at all of General Motors, still in charge of Buick manufacturing. Mr. Chrysler was a strong-willed man, and so was Willie Durant, and they butted heads a few too many times. So at the age of 45, Mr. Chrysler retired for the first time. He walked away a very wealthy man, set for life. He didn't need to do anything else. In 1920, the board of Willie Overland reached out to Mr. Chrysler and asked him to come and help them get out of receivership. They were in bad financial footing. So he went there on the agreement that he'd be paid $1 million for a year, which was an incredible salary for the time. But he was successful. In that 1 year, he turned that company around. Right after that happened, the board of Maxwell Motor Car Company called him. They were also in financial straits and had a little problem at the time. So he went to Maxwell in 1922. And during that time, he had 3 engineers, 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗆𝗍𝗄 and Breer. They called them the 3 Musketeers. He had them work in secret in a factory in Elizabeth, New Jersey on a car that he wanted to put his name on. The vehicle was lower, a little sleeker than most of the era, but the big things were the mechanicals. It had a higher compression 6-cylinder engine, higher than most that were available at the time. And then it also had 4-wheel hydraulic brakes as standard equipment. That was a big deal. You could get 4-wheel hydraulic brakes on some of the upper level cars, the expensive ones, but it was always an option. But Mr. Chrysler believed in safety and power and continuous improvement in the automobile. And so in late 1923, they tooled up. In 1924, they started building the Chrysler 6. And these were sold through Maxwell dealerships, existing dealer franchises all over the country. The car was a great success, and it actually outsold the Maxwells. So in June of 1925, Mr. Chrysler took the assets of Maxwell and transformed it into the Chrysler Corporation and incorporated on June 6, 1925. The brand started in 1924, the company in 1925. Mr. Chrysler understood he wanted to grow the company. The Chrysler brand was kind of in the high price class, and he understood he needed multiple brands. So in the mid-1920s, they started developing 2 other brands, which became Plymouth and DeSoto. But something even bigger happened in 1928. Mr. Chrysler had the opportunity to buy the Dodge brothers. Now this was huge because Chrysler was a small company and only 4 years old, whereas Dodge was established and had Dodge Maine. Dodge Maine was a plant where iron and ore came in one end and a car drove out the other end. So for $144 million cash, the largest cash transaction in U.S. history up to that time, Mr. Chrysler bought the Dodge brand. So now he had, the upper price Chrysler, mid-level Dodge and DeSoto, and low price class Plymouth. The timing was excellent because the Depression hit the following year, 1929. By having the low price Plymouth, the company was able to survive the Depression. Without that brand, they wouldn't have survived. It became the second best-selling car in the United States. But if he hadn't stepped out of the box and taken a risk in 1928, we wouldn't be here talking about this today.
Fred, I think you and your engineers have done a great job. You've not only retained the outstanding features you put into our 1932 Dodge cars, but you've gone beyond what I expected could be accomplished.
Mr. Chrysler, we've put everything we had into this new Dodge car. It's got that good old Dodge dependability, plus everything that the public want today.
Fred, you're proud of this car, aren't you?
You're damn right I am.
So Walter Chrysler led the company from 1924 to 1935. At that point, he was chairman, and Walter decided it was time for him to retire. He had already built the Chrysler building in New York, so it was time for him to retire to his home in New York. Unfortunately, he had a stroke in 1938 and passed away in 1940.
Automobiles have played a tremendous part in the growth and progress of this nation in the last quarter of a century. Many of you here today can remember the time when an automobile was a curiosity and there were only about 1,000 cars in the whole United States.
Mr. Chrysler's idea of continuous improvement lasted many years after he had left the company. So Chrysler was the first on many things. The airflow, which was Mr. Chrysler's baby when it came out in 1934, that was advertised as the first modern automobile because it truly was. It was designed using a wind tunnel, had tubular steel frame. There was safety padded dashes. So it was really like a continuous thing well up into the 1950s when power steering was brought out by the corporation, push button transmission. There was always something going on, and it was an engineering company. All of these different things were industry leading advancements that can go right back to the thoughts that Mr. Chrysler put into the company with his emphasis on advancement, technology, design, just really being a leader in all aspects of the industry.